Am I the jerk for showing my twin sister's OnlyFans to our parents? I am an 18-year-old woman, and I've always had a tumultuous and competitive relationship with my identical twin sister. We've always fought over everything: guys, clothes, friends, etc. But our relationship came to a halt a few weeks ago when a mutual guy friend of ours sent me a link to an OnlyFans profile with an attached message that stated, "This you?" Confused, I clicked on the link and was shocked to discover that the profile belonged to my twin sister. The profile picture was very clearly a scantily clad image of her, and the username was my nickname that literally everyone in my life uses. I asked our friend about it, and he told me that he discovered the profile through Twitter and then subscribed to the profile, which includes dozens of videos of her doing spicy things, to say the least, solo and with partners, all of which with her face showing. I was floored, and in a fit of rage, I showed the profile to our parents. I mean, literally anyone who saw that profile that knows us would immediately assume that it's me, considering she's basically going by my name. Our parents forced her to delete the profile, and she hasn't spoken to me since, claiming that I not only ruined her main source of income, but also betrayed her trust. However, I think that she betrayed my trust by going by my nickname. Am I the jerk? No, you're definitely not. Your sister is, though, for imitating you and using your nickname. She knows full well that you're identical twins. She knows what she's doing. If it was her full personal profile and she was using her personal name, then that's a different story. But the fact that she's imitating you, you're absolutely right to tell your parents. Am I the jerk for telling my daughter that her grades are more important than her pain right now? I am a 46-year-old woman, and I have a 16-year-old daughter. In July, she was in a car accident. Most of her injuries were mild. She went to the hospital, but they let her go home after a few days of observation. But even after we got home, she still complained a lot about pain. I was concerned and took her to our GP, but they couldn't find anything wrong. I told her it was probably in her head and in response to the traumatic event, and that she'd be fine in a few days. She stopped complaining about it after that, and everything seems good. Fast forward to yesterday, and I got an email from her teacher that she's constantly despondent in class and laying her head down and not participating. I was already seeing red from that, and I decided to check on her grades. She turned in multiple assignments late and lost points on them, which is not at all on par with her typical performance. I confronted her about it, and she was really quiet at first, like she didn't know what to say. I pushed her on it, and she started talking about pain again, which I frankly think is BS. She hasn't said a peep about it for 2 months, only when her grades are slipping? We started arguing about it, and I said that her grades matter more than her pain. She's a junior this year. It's not the time to be slacking. She's been in her room since, refusing to talk to anyone. She wouldn't even go to school today. I'm at a loss. She's never been so difficult, and I'm questioning whether or not I'm in the right here. So, am I the jerk? Yeah, grades being more important than health. I'm not sure about that one. I'm sorry to say, OP, but you are in the wrong here. The only reason she stopped complaining about the pain in the first place is because you told her that it's all in her head. You're not listening to her, so therefore she's not going to complain to you because she gets nothing back. And also, just because the GP says there's nothing wrong, she's not going to lie about pain for the sake of it. I don't see what the point of that would be for anyone ever. Go back to the doctor, get her some proper healthcare, and whatever you do, don't tell her that her grades are more important than her pain. Am I the jerk for telling my husband that I'll continue to sleep in bed naked as long as his friend keeps barging into the room? I am a 29-year-old woman, and my husband's best friend, Jacob, moved in with us. He's quiet and doesn't make a mess around the house like my brother-in-law used to when he lived with us. However, Jacob has this habit of walking into the bedroom randomly to take stuff from my husband's closet, say a watch or a shirt. He does it more frequently, and it's gotten increasingly annoying. I felt like my privacy was being violated because I'm a private person. I'd like to have quiet time reading or mediate. I tried to speak up on the issue, but I got brushed off by both of them. Last week, Jacob barged in at 11 p.m. and interrupted my sleep. I was sleep deprived the whole day at work. I got fed up, so what I decided to do is start sleeping on top of the bed, full naked, whenever I'm in there. Last night, Jacob walked in at 10 p.m. while I was there, and when he saw me, he let out a loud shit and quickly turned around and rushed out. I started hearing a commotion outside, so I got dressed to see what was going on. I was met with a lot of yelling and scolding and shaming from my husband, saying I was out of line to expose his brother to such a horrendous sight. I asked what he meant, and he yelled at me to stop acting dumb. I said I felt frustrated after my privacy got violated, and he went on about how Jacob was only there to grab something, which literally takes seconds. Then he went on about how I made him uncomfortable while describing my behavior as slutty. The argument got heated, and he told me to start putting some decent clothes on and act like a lady instead of a slut, since it's his room too, and he already gave permission to Jacob. I got mad and told him loudly that I will keep sleeping on the bed naked as long as his friends keep walking in the room. Then I walked off. He didn't stop complaining and complaining, saying I'm being ridiculous, and he even suggested that this was an attempt from me to make Jacob move out. Am I the jerk? We're still arguing about it this morning. I mean, this story is just very strange from start to finish. I have no idea what's going on here. I don't know why Jacob feels the need to go into your private bedroom, even though he's been told by your husband that he can at 11 p.m. That is so weird. Then on top of that, your husband's sticking up for his brother. Like, what? You're his wife. And finally, the fact that he said that the sight of you naked on a bed is horrible, I quote, a horrible sight, is incredible. Not only is Jacob the butthole here, but so is your husband. Am I the jerk for being upset my wife didn't stay in the hospital with me? So, I am a 35-year-old man, and I was in a motorcycle accident earlier this week. My wife has 3 kids from a previous marriage, who are 17, 10, and 5, and we have a 1-year-old together. I had a collapsed lung and had a chest tube put in, a broken leg and arm, and torn ligaments in my knee. I've been in the hospital since Monday. She came out the day of my accident and stayed until about 4 a.m. She was back that same morning, but she's gone home each night. Yesterday, she only stayed until about 1 p.m. to prepare the house for the hurricane and didn't come at all today because the weather wasn't great and she said she didn't want to leave the kids. I told her I was upset that I basically went through everything alone, that I would have done anything to be with her. She told me she's been there as much as possible and it's not fair to dump all the kids on her daughter, especially since I'll need a lot of help when I get home and her daughter will need to help with the kids when she works. I told her marriage means through thick and thin and I feel abandoned. Now I'm getting one-word answers from her. So, am I the jerk for feeling like an afterthought? Listen, OP, I get it. In an ideal world, of course your wife would be there with you the entire time, and I'm sure she would love to be. But you've literally given the context as to why she can't be. She has 3 previous kids from another marriage, and she has 1 child with you. What's she supposed to do? Just leave them all alone? Ask a 17-year-old daughter to look after all of them? No, that's obviously impractical. Yeah, you're right, marriage does mean through thick and thin, but it also means not abandoning your children, your 4 children, for just you. Like, come on, you're in hospital, you're gonna be okay, mate. Like, imagine she just ditched the 4 kids permanently. Like, yeah, you'll be alright, you can look after each other. Oh, you have a 1-year-old? Ah, no one cares. I'm gonna go look after dad. That would be ridiculous. Am I the jerk for getting up and walking out of the diner when my boyfriend said that he forgot his credit card? I am a 32-year-old woman, and I've been dating my 36-year-old boyfriend for 9 months. He has 2 little children who love going out to eat. We go out once a week, and each time he happens to forget his credit card to make a payment. I'd obviously end up paying since we had the kids with us, but honestly, it left me broke this month and the month before. I just received my payment for my second job, which is part-time. We agreed to go out together with the kids, and I even sent him a text reminding him not to forget his credit card. He laughed it off. At the restaurant, we'd ordered dinner, and he let the kids order lots of new stuff on the menu, which was expensive. Before we started eating, I mentioned his credit card just to make sure he didn't forget it. He looked at me shocked, and then started searching his pockets for a while. He then looked at me in a sorry way and said, "Guess I forgot it in the other pair of jeans that I thought I was going to wear." Then he asked me to foot the bill just this one time. The food was on the table, but I didn't even get a bit. I grabbed my stuff and got up. He freaked out asking where I was going. I told him I wouldn't be paying this time again and to enjoy his dinner with the kids. Then I walked out. He called me later and absolutely lost it on me. He said that he couldn't believe I'd walk and leave him and the kids in this situation. I said I wasn't going to pay for him and the kids' food every single time. It's unfair. He said he forgot. He yelled like that, and that I didn't show sympathy for him and the kids, and he had to cancel and go home with the kids hungry since he couldn't pay right there and then. We got into an argument and he's been mad at me about it since, then saying things like how he needs to take a look at how I'm treating the kids specifically and how I was willing to let them go hungry with my selfishness. So, am I the jerk? Absolutely not even close. It's so obvious that he knows what he's doing here. If anything, you need to get that money back that you've spent on him and his family over the past few months that's left you broke. He knows exactly what he's doing, down to the T. Nobody forgets their credit card that many times. The excuses are abhorrent, I'm gonna be honest. What a shambles of a man. I'm sorry to say this, OP, but if you haven't realized by this point, he is literally just using you. As I said already, nobody forgets that many times. And sorry, I've just remembered, he's guilt-tripping you about his own kids, and it's just so poor from him. Leave him right now. Am I the jerk for not inviting the next door neighbor girl to our backyard party? We live in a block filled with kids. Every now and then I like to get a bounce house and throw a little backyard party for them. I threw another one last week. I want my son to have good memories with his neighbor kid friends because they all go to different schools. I told the parents about the party and that was lieu of an invite. I didn't invite the 8-year-old girl who lives next door. Why? My freaking god, she screams over everything. It's not even a scream, it's ear-piercing screeching. I cannot stand it. I can tune out the loud sounds from my 7 and 9-year-old boys and their friends, but not that girl screaming. It's like she sees a bug, she screams. She thinks someone is chasing her, she screams. She jumps off a swing, she screams. I'm pretty sure it's for attention, but I can't spend my Saturday listening to it in my backyard. Like, I'd end up yelling at her, and I don't want to do that or come across like an angry dad. Her parents did ask me if something was wrong because she wasn't invited. I bluntly told them that I just can't take the screaming. They said she's no more louder than any other kid. No, she's much louder. I told them I didn't want to discuss this any further. If and when she can stop her screaming, then I'll be more than happy to invite her to my backyard parties. They were deeply offended. I'm not looking for suggestions to abate her screaming or possible explanations to her screaming. I just don't want to hear it or be around it. The only way in which I would say that you were the jerk in this story, OP, is if you hadn't done what you did and tell the family the exact reason why you haven't invited their daughter. You've given them a reason, and that's absolutely fine. It's your event, therefore you're not the butthole. If anything, it sucks for the kid because they're not really doing that much wrong. They're just being a kid and having fun. It's on their parents to tell them not to do these sort of things. And her parents aren't really doing anything about the problem, are they? They're just saying that she's no louder than any other kid. Whereas, let's be honest, she must be, based on what you're saying. So no, OP, you're definitely not in the wrong, you're in the right, but the parents of that kid need to step up and do something. Am I the jerk for cancelling dinner because my girlfriend didn't feed my daughter lunch? I am a 33-year-old man, and I've been with my 30-year-old girlfriend for over a year. She quit her job as soon as she moved in with me, saying that technically she is a stay-at-home mum since she takes care of my 5-year-old daughter. I thought her decision was odd for many reasons, including the fact that my daughter is only comfortable with me taking care of her needs. Yesterday, I was at work. Since my girlfriend is still getting used to my daughter's routine, I decided to help by making her a schedule and even setting alarms for certain activities like showering. At 1 p.m, my daughter was supposed to eat her lunch. It was in the schedule, but I still texted my girlfriend to remind her. All she had to do was reheat the food I cooked the night before, since I'm the one who does the cooking. I got home at 5 and found my daughter in her room with some chips. I asked why she was having chips at the time, and she said it was because my girlfriend didn't give her lunch. I asked why, and she said she had friends over. I was livid and rushed to confront her, and she tried to downplay it, saying she forgot and chatting with her friends made her forget. I said that was BS since she had the schedule. She said I was judging her for still getting used to my daughter's routine and forgetting stuff, but I literally texted to remind her. She claims she didn't see the text, but her phone never leaves her hand. I've decided that I won't be cooking for her or her family who were supposed to come over later last night for dinner. She freaked out, saying I couldn't do that and put her in this situation after I agreed to cook for the night. I said it was done and declined to keep arguing it. She started screaming that I was being too harsh on her, not giving her time to adjust properly. She ended up cancelling dinner with her family, but is pretty much angry at me for backing out last minute. Now, the comments on this one, guys, are very interesting because I'm not going to lie, I do kind of differ, but I get what they're saying. The comments on Reddit are saying that OP is the butthole for leaving their child with this woman in the first place. Now, as much as I do get that, I feel like there needs to be more context here because we don't know if this is the first time that's ever happened or, you know, if this is a regular occurrence or not. I'd say if this has happened before or if there was any even inclination that this was going to happen and she was going to forget to feed your daughter, then yeah, you got to take blame for that because ultimately you are responsible for your daughter even if you're not present with them at the time. You choose who looks after them. But if this is the first time that's happened, then yeah, it's not particularly your fault. It's just a terrible situation all around. I mean, no doubt this woman is a disgrace. Again, get her out of your life as quickly as possible. What could have happened here could have been absolutely disastrous. Like, yeah, it seems all right. She was just eating chips, but imagine she was locked in a hot car or something and the girl's like, oh yeah, I forgot she was in there. Like, genuinely, that could have happened. So I don't know who's in the wrong here, really. Kind of everyone. Just make sure it doesn't happen again. Am I the jerk for telling my stepdad that I'll eat whatever I want in this house because I'm paying for it in front of my stepsisters? I am a 20-year-old man and I currently live with my mum full-time since my dad is working out of the country. She has a husband and he has 2 daughters from a previous marriage who are 12 and 14, and there's also my half-sibling, a 6-year-old boy. My mum's husband is unemployed because he was abruptly terminated. Both of them do gigs here and there while he looks for a job, but they barely bring money to the house. I'm in my 2nd year of uni. While working and getting money from my dad every month, I've been paying for most of my stuff. Clothes, hobbies, phone bill, etc. ever since I was 16. And when I turned 18, I began to pay rent and for my car. My mum's husband and his daughters are big eaters. I don't mind. I just started to buy my own groceries and they knew they weren't allowed to have any. though I'd let my stepsisters take some of my snacks because I get that they're kids. But ever since 3 or 4 months ago, my mum has been asking me to buy this, buy that, buy this again, and I've been doing their groceries too. So I'm basically paying for all of the food, plus rent, plus driving my stepsister to and from school, among other things. Yesterday, we were having dinner together, and I remembered I'd bought a watermelon a few days ago. It was almost all gone, but I could eat the last of it and it was okay. My stepsister said she wanted some too, and I said there was barely anything left and she could have an apple or something. But she said she wanted watermelon, and I said, sorry. My mum's husband said kids go first. But I said the kids have been eating watermelon for the past few days and it was my turn. He looked me dead in the eye and said, put it back, son. You can eat something else. So I just said I'll be eating whatever I want because I was paying for it. Nobody said anything after that, and I took it to my room. Later, my mum came and apologized for him, but said that I shouldn't have said anything in front of my sisters, and that was rude, because I was being financially abusing with my family. So, I don't know. Well, first of all, you're definitely not the jerk, and second of all, I love that you stood up to the bloke, because what you're saying is straight facts. You are the one that pays for the food, you pay for the gaff, you know, you're well within your rights to say that. And yeah, your mum's right, maybe it's not the right thing to do in front of the kids, but you're literally getting used to it, and you're not even getting appreciated for it. If anything, you should have probably said something a little bit sooner. If you are the one that is enabling their entire lives, paying for everything, then as harsh as it might seem, you just got to get out of there. Because ultimately, you're not going to be around forever. They can't just use and abuse you for their entire lives too and expect you to just fund everything. So at some point, you're going to have to move anyway. Might as well do it now.